In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 most common mistakes that I see Web3 founders and marketing teams make during their launch. If you yourself are a Web3 founder, you must know that you only have one shot at getting your launch right. So in today's video, based on my personal experience having worked with hundreds of the top brands in the Web3 space, including brands like Brave, including brands like Forbes, Magic Eden on BTC, Karate Combat, Seedify, and many others, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the biggest challenges and bottlenecks that a lot of brands face and how you can overcome them and not fall into the mistakes that end up costing you your project. The first most common mistake that I see a lot of teams make is that they over-index on vanity metrics. The reality about Web3 is that perception is reality, especially when customers often come in with an investor mindset. They need to see some form of social proof on your brand's social media and on your social medias as a founder. Where the problem becomes is that founders and teams think that these vanity metric generating activities are going to be the only activities that are going to get them the customers that they want. The reality is that the giveaway campaigns on Zeely and Galaxy, the Telegram games that end up funneling users into your account, the hundreds of the social questing activities are not going to be the things that are going to get you your ideal customers. Most of the time, these activities end up attracting a lower quality type of audience. And we've all seen it. A brand with hundreds of thousands of followers end up just flopping the day of the launch. And that's because they were unable to attract the right type of customer and audience. The truth is, again, like it or not, vanity metrics are important. But then the strategy becomes, how do we utilize that to attract the right type of audience? Vanity metric optimizing for social proof is typically the first phase of the marketing launch. But a marketing launch is a long and arduous process. The next stage becomes, how do we use that social proof to attract these quality eyeballs? And there's 2 ways to do that. The first one is through influencer campaigns. So working and partnering with influencers and key opinion leaders that have an audience of the ideal customers that we want to go after. The second path is to sniper target the types of customers that we want to attract through either activating the founder funnel or by activating a reply guy strategy. For example, there's tools out there that allow you to scrape data of the top holders from projects that look similar to yours. And then next to that wallet, these tools, they scrape the X account of these users. So what you have the ability to go do is put these people on a list and target them one by one, spark conversations with them using the founder account, or just activate the reply guy strategy on their account. And with time, they start warming up to you and they start wanting to explore your ecosystem. But this takes time. But as you can see, these are campaigns that actually require work, patience, and consistency. And most teams much rather just take the easy pass and just get the thousands of followers using one campaign. But please do not fall into that first mistake. The second common mistake teams make is the narrative hop. The thing about Web3 marketing is you want to become known for your thought expertise or the product you deliver in a specific category in the marketplace. And the worst thing one can do is start trend hopping and narrative hopping, because oftentimes people who are into Web3 gaming are not into AI or into meme coins. So what you start doing is, as you start building an audience, let's say as a Web3 game, and all of a sudden, I've seen that many times, people start pivoting to what's hot in the narrative. They are unable to, first of all, bring their old community base into that new narrative. And second of all, for the people who understand and are in the narrative that the project is currently trying to get into, they're going to see that this is nothing but a Trojan horse. And it's not a project that is native to that specific niche. Narrative hopping is the easiest way to lose any relevance in the space. Just this week, one of my guys at Unfungible told me that he spoke with a team recently. And post-call, as they were texting, the team he spoke with let him know, like, hey, okay, we've actually shelved our Web3 gaming initiative. We're launching meme coins now. AK was like, yeah, these guys, they just disqualified themselves right then and there. But it proves to show that this is more common than not, and it's the easiest way for you to lose any relevance in the space. So the second one we saw was narrative hopping. The third one, which you're not going to see that coming, is underutilizing narratives. The thing about Web3 is that people often bet on narratives, not only on products. They think, okay, RWAs is hot. Let me invest in the top projects that I think are going to lead the charge for RWAs. And your goal is to become top of mind that one of these projects. And as a project, what one should do is that they should become the evangelist of the category that they are building in. If you're in Web3 gaming, you're not building in a Web3 game because it's more profitable than just building a game in Web2. You have to come in with full conviction over the narrative of why you are building in that specific category. And it is by doubling down on your narrative through your brand account and through your founder account that you are going to have the ability to stick out in the marketplace and all of a sudden position yourself as the leader for that narrative once attention comes back and people are looking to deploy liquidity within that narrative. So do not shy away from over leveraging your narrative that you are building in. Even though it's not hot, if you are to think of all the top projects and creators that we follow today, they've been building in their specific narrative or category for years now. And only now when the wind blows in their direction, do they all of a sudden gain the relevance that they need. For example, it's currently meme coin season as we speak in the Web3 space. And the evangelist of meme coins, the first person most of us think about is this guy called Murad. Murad hasn't started talking about meme coins when it became hot or it became a trend. He's been evangelizing the space years before it even became cool. And that's when the wind started blowing his direction, he was all of a sudden able to rise to the top. So do the same. Do not shy away from your narrative. It is unreasonable to think that Web3 gaming, RWAs, AI, utility projects, NFTs are not going to be a leading narrative in the next 10 years. So might as well start now and evangelize your narrative. The fourth mistake is underutilizing the founder brand. I recently co-tweeted this creator on X called Jumpers who said that while everyone is getting distracted in meme coins, he's been able to make an easy 6 figures by doubling down on the narrative he has most conviction in. And he said that most of his investments went into one project, which was the Seed World ecosystem. And when explaining why did he do this and why did he hold conviction during all this time is because of the founder. I bought more than 60 NFTs, this is me reading right now, then upgraded most of them. Also, what really kept me in this project is Meta Alchemist, which I've known since the early Seedify days. The thing about Web3, how it is architected at its core, is that the stronger your community, the more successful you will be. And what sits at the center of a strong community? It is a strong founder presence. Just like a galaxy needs a strong force of nature at its center, which is the black hole, to hold the whole thing together, a community needs a founder at its center to bring it together. And I see a lot of teams shy away from being out there, sharing their thoughts, sharing why they think that the space ought to be that way and how they plan on changing that. That's what gets people. That's what gets you the real customers. Going back to the first mistake that we see founders make, which is over-indexing on vanity metrics, the founder funnel is by far the best way to attracting these high-quality audiences. So literally by not investing in the founder presence and the founder brand, you're potentially jeopardizing the success of your brand, or you're limiting how far your project could go. Mistake number 5, and don't worry, I have a bonus for you. The 5th biggest mistake is overemphasizing the utility and underemphasizing the ecosystem. This was shared with me during a recent podcast interview with Yatsu, chairman of Animoca Brands. He said that one of the biggest mistakes that Web3 founders make is that they try to become the sole injector of utility within the ecosystem. So what ends up happening is you end up building an audience base or a customer base of people that are always chipping away from you at the brand. What real Web3 builders do is that they build roads and then they allow their community to build cities around these roads. The truth about Web3 is the real value of owning a token, whether it being fungible or unfungible, is your ability to unlock access to a greater ecosystem. Think of pudgy penguins, for example. As a penguin holder, I was never given direct utility or a shipment from Pudgy Penguins because I was just a Pudgy Penguins holder. Same thing as a Nizuki. The value proposition of being part of this ecosystem is the network itself. It's the added opportunities that are gained by being a Pudgy Penguin or a Nizuki or XYZ NFT holder. It's the access to opportunities. It's the access to special utilities in other ecosystem. It's the ability to use your avatar in different Web3 games. It's the status that you gain. It is the network itself that makes the token valuable. And I often see Web3 founders try to push too much of the utility versus pushing the network. One of our clients, for example, Forbes Web3, one thing they did very nicely, it's a great example, is a big value proposition of why you should buy their $1,000 NFT, which they sold over 1,000 of, is access to the Forbes Web3 entrepreneurial network. By having your soulbound token, you're all of a sudden going to have access to that exclusive space, and you're going to get access to all the value that is given to these holders, not only from Forbes, but from Forbes partners, from other people that want these high quality audience members in their ecosystem. That's a great example of selling the network, not the utility. And as promised, ladies and gentlemen, I have a bonus for us today, which is mistake number 6 that I see a lot of teams make, is that they deprioritize their community as they grow. A very recent example that I have for you is this project called Today the Game. Today the Game spent the last 2 years building a strong community in the NFT space. And for them, what they're pretty much building, the ecosystem that they're building is AI agents in Web3 gaming. So you have the ability to create AI agents in Web3 games. And they've been able to build a very strong community in the NFT space. But one thing they did this week out of the blue is they launched an AI meme coin. And what disappointed the community is not the fact that they, going back to what we were talking about, they narrative hopped, because for them it was still relevant. They always were an AI project. They created AI avatars. But what the community really didn't like and caused a lot of FUD is that it went against the ethos of launching tokens, which right now is very community centric, with the community getting most of the allocation. What they did Today the Game is they gave the community 2% of the whole allocation spread between thousands of NFT holders, and they only told the community after 3 hours of the launch happening. Therefore, there were already insiders that bought, and then there were sniper bots, and then there were meme coin traders that bought, and only then did the community get in, and the project was already at 25 million market cap. Pretty much, they launched the token in a way that was not centric to the community. And the reason this is important is in Web3, especially the real innovation of Web3 is having the ability to give people a stake in your ecosystem, where if you win, they win. And by all of a sudden, forgetting about your community, you prevent yourself from using the community as the jump start, as the trampoline that will propel your ecosystem. Your first 1,000 customers are going to be your community. Your first 10,000 customers are going to come from the people your community are going to refer to you. Your first 100,000 customers are going to come from the amplification on social media that your core community is going to give you. So as your brand grows, remember to keep your community at the very center of your project. So ladies and gentlemen, as we've seen it so far, the 6 mistakes that Web3 teams make, which are over-indexing on vanity metrics, narrative hopping, under-arbitraging narrative, a lack of a founder presence, overemphasizing the utility and not the network, and finally, forgetting about your community. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leon Aboud, and it was a great pleasure sharing this time together. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.